You know, I really enjoyed this, and probably like the main reason I enjoyed it is because she was so relatable.
Thanks.
I mean, is that what you put into her, like that?
Well, I always think, okay, so you're playing this girl that's 34, 35, whatever, 33, whatever the hell you're playing. And why isn't she doesn't have a boyfriend, and she's not married, and she's not gay, and she's not, and she works very hard. And I always think, why, in somebody's life like that, what's going on that keeps them from having a personal life, you know? And usually if I think like that, then I come up with vulnerabilities that would make someone a little vulnerable to certain things. So that's what I try and think of, and that's what I try to think of with her.
So what was her, like, vulnerabilities, you think?
Well, you know, she works really hard, and I think in a way she's a little shy, but you know, she's from New York, so she's probably heard all the lines, and I think she's a person that wants to do good things in her life and have good things happen, you know, and for other people too. And she's pretty smart, but she's in a job where, you know, she's a social worker. They don't make a lot of money, and they probably have long hours, so she's not hanging at, you know, the China Club. You know, she doesn't have the money for the clothes. You know, she doesn't probably have it all together. And I can really identify with that because I know that in times in my life when I was a nanny or I was working at some other job and I didn't make that much money, and, you know, sometimes you have to make a lot of money to be hip. We have to dress hip at least. And I dressed like a geek, and she's sort of like that.
Sort of, but she's not, you know, the one thing about her too is, like, women seem to, like, go after men that have money or are taken.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I admire her that she didn't know right off the bat that he had money. But as I was playing it, you know, and I said to Andy, that's the director, I said, you know, once she finds out he does have money, that's really cool. You know, I mean, you can't, it's like when I saw The Parent Trap. I thought, you can't negate the fact that Brian Keith has, like, this great ranch. And I couldn't negate the fact, nor could my character, because we couldn't separate from one another. I couldn't negate the fact that this guy is totally the richest guy in the world. And that's a little charming, you know. It was good that she loved him first, but that helped. It's like my mother said, it doesn't hurt to love a rich guy. You shouldn't love him because he's rich, if you catch my drift, but you know.
Well, did you have love at first sight with your husband?
I did have love I didn't have love at first sight with my husband, but I definitely had lust at first sight. I loved the way he looked. And that's very shallow. And that's me. And I loved the way he looked, and I thought, oh, this is the guy for me. He is the guy for me. And he was. But after the first date I had with him, I didn't think he was, I thought he was a little too sweet. But he wasn't. He was a mother, so he wasn't too sweet. And then we fit nicely together. He's not sweet. Like Gutenberg is the sweetest person I have ever met in my life. And that's for real. When I met him one time, a long time ago, we have this story where I was driving down the street and he was driving down the street. And we pulled up beside each other at a stop sign. And I looked over and it was sort of like, hi. And we didn't know each other, but he'd seen me do something and I'd seen him do something. And it was very, very flirty. And that's the last time I ever saw Steve. So when I saw Steve on the movie, on the set, I said, do you remember? And he goes, do you remember Paramount? I said, yeah, we were waiting. He remembered too. And I thought, this is good. This is very good. I wasn't the only one hallucinating.
That's cool. So then you just kind of continued the flirtiness into the characters.
Well, we weren't. Steve and I are a teeny bit more like brother and sister. Because Steve he's the sweetest person I've ever met in my life. And he's sexy. I mean, have you seen his body? He's got this, you know, he's got this sweetness and this cuteness about him. And then he took off his shirt, and I was like, oh, whoa. So, and then he thought I was, you know, not sweet and cute, and he thought I was sort of sexy. And then I took off my shirt, and then it wasn't for him. So it was sort of a dichotomy. Yeah.
So you're quite a writer, or a stunt person, I should say.
I am so not a writer. I was so mad at these people because they said, can you write? And I said, yes. Well, am I a stunt writer? No. But so I show up for the riding scene, and it was like Cecil B. DeMille. Okay, Kirstie, get on the horse and ride 300 miles an hour through the shot, and also be flailing, and you know you're falling off, and you have no control. And I was like, hello? Are you talking to me? Do I have a stunt girl standing behind me? And then I did have a stunt girl standing behind me, and I said, and what did you want her to do? Just do the drive-bys? So then I got so mad. These were my worst days on the set. I was so mad that I said, all right, give me this horse. Then I just rode really radically, and I thought, if I fall off this horse and die, so what? So be it. At the Inquisition, I shall bring up them making me ride like a maniac through the... But I think did it work?
Totally.
Okay, good.
Totally. You looked like you were totally freaked out.
Well, I was freaked out. I was ready to kill the director. Steve was so cute. He goes, Kirstie, don't do anything you don't want to do. And I go, Steve, shut up for once. Quit being so sweet.
Can I, you know, you were saying you liked E, and you called it a groovy channel.
Yeah.
Can I get you to say what you think of E in like 10 seconds or less?
Yeah, I think E is a groovy channel. I mean, it's hip, you know. It's what I would aspire to in my journalism. Hip journalism. Fun.